talk, because there are a lot of discordant views, about views of the future of Nigeria, and some are even questioning our existence. And for me, we can't sit back and be watching people who have no facts, to say Nigeria should disintegrate. And I think one takeaway from this conference yesterday is part of the drama you showed. One greatest takeaway was the consensus that the unity of Nigeria, is real, and we need to nurture it. And we can discuss about the quality of governance, how to advance forward. But this is an heritage which has been given to us as a republic. And there are other issues that came up on the floor.
The question is, when I asked that question, the question is, what precisely is the NLC hoping to do with the outcome of their discussion yesterday? No, the first thing is for us to have a much more organized discussion in a very structured manner. Don't forget that we've been talking at each other as citizens, but we thought we should talk with each other. And that's why we had open mind. What do you mean by restructuring? Where are we coming from? What does it mean to, different kind of people? And what came out yesterday was that first we need knowledge of the past, and from all the presentation where we knew where we were coming from. In fact, one consensus that came out was that Nigeria has only been going through one form of reforms, or restructuring if you want it. We had 3 regions before, as at independence, later on we had the Midwest, which was created by an act of parliament, and later on creation of states, 12 states, today we are 36 states. So there have been process of political restructuring going on in this country. Now, it was also clear that we need to be clear about the past. We need to know the past, but don't be romantic with the past. Because if the whole regions have been very good, there won't be clamoring for, more creation of states, as the case may be. Of course, we also know the present, that there are a lot of debates about viability of the states. How do we advance them forward? So what I'm saying here is that the whole force is the knowledge is power. We need to know where we are, and then from there we move forward. And there are a series of actions we need to take. It's now time to walk our talk. So Labour is definitely going to be taking some action.
Oh, yeah, we'll continue.
With the results of
we'll continue about the actions we've been taking before. Let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. We've marched for good governance before. We've marched against anti-corruption. We have seen from the discussion that that's one of the basic problems. Look at the whole same humongous revelation of money being stolen away. Now we have to move forward more. Encourage our members to become good whistleblowers. So that we can, recover looted funds and then put them to public use. Then we should also march for development of our country. I listened to Professor Igwe. At the end of the day, it's frustration about development, and you can't run this country with this epileptic power supply. No energy. A country wide 80 million people generating 3,000 megawatts. 5,000 megawatts maximum. When you have 50 million South Africa generating 60,000 megawatts, I think Nigeria should now come out. We must match with these billions of naira that have been pumped into energy. Where is the power supply? So for me, those are the issues that we're going to talk on. Then on this issue of national unity, I can also tell you this. We're also meeting today, our Central Agri Committee. I think, one issue that also came on the floor is that unity of Nigeria is even indispensable for the unity of Africa. 180 million people were the biggest. So how can we be talking of insular Nigeria returning to regions? Who is going to fix South Sudan? Who is going to fix Somalia that's in a mess? So we must march for unity of Nigeria. That's why I would say even on October 1st, Independence Day, we are planning to really come out in a good number to reclaim, the independence of Nigeria. In a way that we'll be able to say, what we need is to build Nigeria for development. And if China, which is bigger, 1.5 billion people, can deliver prosperity. United States of America, about 300 million people. Nigeria is, yes, I've said so before at the studio, we may be big in relation to Togo. But there are also countries of our endowment in which we are far smaller. So if they can deliver, what are they doing that they are delivering for? And what is clear is that we must now walk our talk. And lastly, the one that also concerns us, let me also...
Just a moment, because... Yeah. The question now is, yesterday there were definitely different highlights from different speakers. Yeah. We did hear from former leader of the NLC, Comrade Adams Oshomole, talking about how he believes that part of the reason why they call for restructuring, those who have come up with the buzzword restructuring right now, are those who lost out in the 2015 general elections. And obviously that did not sit well with a number of your comrades, some of whom walked out
you know, of the conference. What precisely transpired?
No, I'm not sure whether they worked out. I mean, I was there. I also watched your tape, you know, and I have not seen that session rowdy, to use the word. I think it's also important that we should restructure the way media interpret events. Let me put it this way. That what we watch now, you know, is certainly not as rowdy as what you have seen when some House of Assembly members are throwing chairs. It was still orderly. And that's in line with democratic tradition of Nigeria Labour movement. I mean, Comrade Adams is not that well. He has become a two-time governor, a guest speaker. If he had been on the floor...
And a member of the current ruling party.
Yeah, very well. I mean, legitimately so. I mean, all of us have the right to be in parties. What I'm saying is that if he were to be on the floor of Nigeria Labour Congress, he would have done similar things. If he had opposition, if he had different views to be expressed on issues that have been debated. So what we saw was orderly responses to views, you know, or to a view which some of our members thought was completely not right. And some of us share those views too. I mean, for instance, with Comrade Adams, I thought it was off the mark for him to have said those who are talking of restructuring because they lost out in election. I mean, some of us who share those views.
So you didn't agree with him as well?
No, I mean, we don't need to agree. We can agree to disagree, you know. And himself, even from his narrative, if you were the proceeding, himself says so that in spite of his opposition, he nominated delegates from Edo to that conference. You know, I'm talking of the conference of 2014, which also was all about good governance, about restructuring, whatever you want to call it.
But it wasn't about controversy, so is this not the first time he's taken the stance?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but he had the right to express his view, but some of our members have the right to respond accordingly. But you know that after quite some time, he also made some views that were very popular, and he commanded applause from the floor. I mean, so contestation is part of our tradition. You know, and we are not into this kind of gathering in which everybody is right, everybody is wrong, you know. There is always alternative views, you know. So,
Comrade, we'll come back and talk a bit more about the alternative views. Let's take a moment now. Sunrise said we'll be back shortly. Please stay with us.